This is Radio Now 95.3 FM. Come for the news, stay for informed conversations.
Today our conversation starts off with the economy, where the National Bureau of Statistics (NBS) has released a report which shows that Nigeria's gross domestic product (GDP) grew by 3.19% in the second quarter of this year. The report also shows that oil production in the country dropped to 1.41 million barrels per day as against 1.57 million barrels per day recorded in the first quarter of this year. Now, with growth also recorded in the service sectors as well as the agricultural sector, we're speaking this morning on what this foretells for the Nigerian economy. We're joined by Marcel Okeke, a former chief economist at Zenith Bank PLC. Mr. Okeke, good morning. Welcome to the conversation.
Good morning, and thank you for having me.
Glad to have you here. What is your reaction to the NBS's reports regarding our GDP?
Well, my first reaction is that we as Nigerians are happy that we still recorded a positive GDP. Okay? Because what we've been going through, in the past 1 year, some people would have thought we've gone into recession. But it's not something to celebrate. But we are happy that it is still a positive growth. But it's a low one, indicating that the growth is quite minimal and so slow. That's my reaction to that. That's the way I see it.
Right, so I would like to track this back to a few weeks ago when we received the latest inflation reports for Nigeria, and it indicated that inflation had dropped for perhaps the first time this year. And bringing these two stories side by side, do you see any positives? One, with inflation rates reportedly dropping, and then the following month we are talking about an increase in our GDP. Are things looking up?
Well, we have to hope for policy consistency. If the government policies remain consistent, it will help. But if we continue to go by trial and error, you try this policy, you drop it, you change this one and that and that. It does not. These do not encourage investors. And because of that, the economy keeps suffering. But beyond all this, the government has to be very, very serious in terms of handling the security or insecurity situation in the land. So once the security situation is properly handled, among other issues, I believe that the marginal drop in inflation rate and this level of GDP growth we have seen, will encourage people, economic agents, to be more positive in terms of the way they view the economy, and we then do what they're supposed to do for the economy to pick up in the right direction. That is my hope.
Right. Now, this report also notes that there was a drop in the oil production for the second quarter of the year, dropping just a little. We all know that it's common knowledge, rather, that the oil sector does not contribute as much to Nigeria's GDP. But with that drop in mind and the report about the numbers for the GDP going up, especially in the non-oil sector, do you get the sense that things are being done in the right direction, or policies are going in the right direction? We've seen these policies take place over the course of a year. Once again, perhaps I'm looking for the silver lining here. Is there such a silver lining?
Well, you should know that the GDP we are talking about, really, is for the second quarter. And as we speak, we're already in the third quarter. Meaning that from June till now, that is August ending, as we speak, the government has done a lot in the oil sector to improve oil production. Okay? The oil sector has its own challenges in terms of vandalism, in terms of oil theft, and in terms of organized sabotage and all that. And the government has been doing a lot, to tackle these issues in the past couple of months. So I believe that going forward, that sector will do better and contribute more both to GDP and the general well-being of the economy. That's my position.
Mr. Okeke, thank you very much for your time and your expertise on the conversation. Marcel Okeke is a former chief economist at Zenith Bank PLC. He joined us this morning to speak on the reports of the National Bureau of Statistics that points to a growth in Nigeria's GDP by as much as 3.19% in the second quarter of this year. The report also notes a drop in the oil production per day, which has dropped to 1.41 million barrels per day in the second quarter of this year.
This is Radio Now 95.3 FM. Come for the news, stay for informed conversations.